to which my love and some necessity now lays upon you. Lord, madam, with all my heart, I shall obey you in all fair commands. Poor, my people do already know my mind, and will acknowledge you and Jessica in place of Lord Bassanio and myself. So fare you well till we shall meet again. Lord, fair thoughts and happy hours attend on you. Jess, I wish your ladyship all heart's content. Poor, I thank you for your wish, and am well pleased to wish it back on you. Fare you well, Jessica. Exeunt Jessica and Lorenzo. Now, Balthazar, as I have ever found thee honest, true, so let me find thee still. Take this same letter. See thou render this into my cousin's hand, Dr. Bellario, and look what notes and garments he doth give thee. Bring them, I pray thee, with imagined speed, unto the trainact, to the common ferry, which trades to Venice. Waste no time in words, but get thee gone, I shall be there before thee. Bow, madam, I go with all convenient speed. Exit. Poor, come on, Nerissa, I have work in hand that you yet know not of. We'll see our husbands before they think of us. Nor shall they see us. Poor, they shall, Nerissa. But come, I'll tell thee all my whole device, when I am in my coach, which stays for us at the park gate, and therefore haste away, for we must measure 20 miles today. End of ACT Third. Historical notes to ACT Third. The present stone structure superseded an older one of wood. This celebrated edifice was commenced in 1588. That the swan uttered musical sounds at the approach of death was credited by Plato, Chrysippus, Aristotle, Euripides, Philostratus, Cicero, Seneca, and Martial. Pliny, Aelian, and Athenaeus among the ancients, and Sir Thomas More among the moderns, treat this opinion as a vulgar error. Luther believed in it. See his Colloquia par. 2 p. 125 edit. 1571, 8 vo. Our countryman Bartholomew Glanville thus mentions the singing of the swan, and when she shall die, and that a feather is pit in the brain, then she singeth, as Ambrose saith, de proper. Re 1, Roman 12. Monsieur Morin has written a dissertation on this subject in Vol. V. of the Mem de l'Acad, des Inscript. There are likewise some curious remarks on it in Weston's Specimens of the Conformity of the European Languages with the Oriental, p. 135, in Ceylon Miscellanea to 298, and in Pinkerton's Recollections of Paris, Douce's Illustrations. These two magnificent granite columns, which adorn the Piazzetta of St. Mark on the Molo or quay near the Doge's Palace, were among the trophies brought by Domenico Micheli on his victorious return from Palestine in 1125, and it is believed that they were plundered from some island in the archipelago. A third pillar, which accompanied them, was sunk while landing. It was long before any engineer could be found sufficiently enterprising to attempt to rear them, and they were left neglected on the quay for more than 50 years. In 1180, however, Niccolo Baratiro. It may be doubted whether he quite strictly adhered to the requisite condition when he demanded that games of chance, hitherto forbidden throughout the capital, might be played in the space between the columns, perhaps with a reservation to himself of any profits accruing from them. His request was granted, and the disgraceful monopoly became established. But afterward, in order to render the spot infamous, and to deter the population from frequenting it, it was made the scene of capital executions, and the bodies of countless malefactors were thus gibbeted under the very windows of the palace of the chief magistrate. A winged lion in bronze, the emblem of St. Mark, was raised on the summit of one of these columns, and the other was crowned with a statue of St. Theodore, a yet earlier patron of the city, armed with a lance and shield, and trampling on a serpent. A blunder made by the statuary in this group has given occasion for sarcastic comment from Emilot de la House. The saint is sculptured with the shield in his right hand, the lance in his left, a clear proof, says the French writer, of the unacquaintance of the Venetians with the use of arms, and symbolical that their great council never undertakes a war of its own accord, nor for any other object than to obtain a good and secure peace. The satirist has unintentionally given the Republic the highest praise which could flow from his pen. Happy indeed would it have been for mankind if governments had never been actuated by any other policy. De la House informs us also that the Venetians exchanged the patronage of St. Theodore for that of St. Mark, from like pacific motives, because the first was a soldier and resembled St. George, the tutelary idol of Genoa. Sketches of Venetian history. The Duke cannot deny and see, as the reason here given seems a little perplexed, it may be proper to explain it. If, says he, the Duke stop the course of law, it will be attended with this inconvenience, that stranger merchants, by whom the wealth and power of this city is supported, will cry out of injustice. For the known stated law being their guide and security, they will never bear to have the current of it stopped on any pretense of equity whatsoever. Warburton. For the commodity that strangers have with us in Venice, if it be denied, and c. id est, for the denial of those rights to strangers, which render their abode at Venice so commodious and agreeable to them, would much impeach the justice of the state. The consequence would be that strangers would not reside or carry on traffic here, and the wealth and strength of the state would be diminished. In the History of Italy, by W. Thomas, quarto, 1567, there is a section on the liberty of strangers at Venice, malone. Here other things, id est, shall say no more in self-praise, but will refer to a new subject. With imagined speed, id est, with celerity like that of imagination. Unto the trainact, probably this word means the towboat of the ferry. Duglioni fixes the erection of these columns in 1172, Sabolico in 1174, the common Venetian guidebooks a few years later. The Abbate Garrixioli writes the name of the engineer Staratny. Act 4. Scene 1, Venice, a court of justice. The Duke, the Magnificos Antonio, Bassanio, Gratino, Salarino, Salanio, and others. Duke, what is Antonio here? Ant ready, so please your grace. Duke, I am sorry for thee, them art come to answer. A stony adversary, an inhuman wretch. Uncapable of pity, void and empty. From any dram of mercy. Ant I have heard. Your grace hath ta'en great pains to qualify his rigorous course, but since he stands obdurate, and that no lawful means can carry me out of his envy's reach, I do oppose my patience to his fury, and am armed to suffer with a quietness of spirit the very tyranny and rage of his. Duke, go on, and call the Jew into the court. Grand Capt, he's ready at the door, he comes, my lord. Enter Shylock. Duke, make room, and let him stand before our face. Shylock, the world thinks, and I think so too, that thou but leadst this fashion of thy malice to the last hour of act, and then tease thought. Thou'lt show thy mercy and remorse more strange than is thy strange apparent cruelty. And where thou now exact'st the penalty, which is a pound of this poor merchant's flesh, thou wilt not only lose the forfeiture, but touched with human gentleness and love, forgive a moiety of the principal, glancing an eye of pity on his losses, that have of late so huddled on his back, enough to press a royal merchant down, see, and pluck commiseration of his state from brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flint, from stubborn Turks and Tartars never, to offices of tender courtesy. We all expect a gentle answer, Jew. Shy, I have possessed your grace of what I purpose, and by our holy Sabbath have I sworn to have the due and forfeit of my bond. If you deny it, let the danger light upon your charter and your city's freedom. You'll ask me why I rather choose to have a weight of carrion flesh than to receive 3,000 ducats. I'll not answer that, but say it is my humor, is it? What if my house be troubled with a rat, and I be pleased to give 10,000 ducats to have it banned? What are you answered yet? Some men there are love, not a gaping pig. Some that are mad if they behold a cat. Now for your answer. As there is no firm reason to be rendered why he cannot abide a gaping pig, why he a harmless, necessary cat, so can I give no reason, nor I will not, more than a lodged hate and a certain loathing. I bear Antonio that I follow thus. A losing suit against him, are you? Bars, this is no answer, thou unfeeling man, to excuse the current of thy cruelty. Shy, I am not bound to please thee with my answer. Bars, do all men kill the things they do not love? Shy, hates any man the thing he would not kill? Bars, every offense is not a hate at first. Shy, what, wouldst thou have a serpent sting thee twice? Ant, I pray you, think you question with the Jew. You may as well go stand upon the beach, and bid the main flood bait his usual height. Yon may as well use question with the wolf, why he hath made the ewe blate for the lamb. You may as well forbid the mountain pines to wag their high tops and to make no noise when they are fretted with the gusts of heaven. You may as well do anything most hard as seek to soften that than which what's harder. His Jewish heart, therefore I do beseech you, make no more offers, use no further means, but with all brief and plain conveniency, let me have judgment and the Jew his will. Bars, for thy 3,000 ducats here are 6. Shy, if every ducat in 6,000 ducats were in 6 parts, and every part a ducat, I would not draw them, I would have my bond. Duke, how shalt thou hope for mercy, rendering none? Shy, what judgment shall I dread, doing no wrong? You have among you many a purchased slave, which, like your asses and your dogs and mules, you use in abject and in slavish parts. Because you bought them, shall I say to you, let them be free, marry them to your heirs. Why sweat they under burthens, let their beds be made as soft as yours, and let their palates be seasoned with such viands. You will answer, the slaves are ours, so do I answer you. The pound of flesh, which I demand of him, is dearly bought, 'tis mine and I will have it. If you deny me, fie upon your loth. There is no force in the decrees of Venice. I stand for judgment, answer shall I have it. Duke, upon my power, I may dismiss this court, unless Bellario, a learned doctor, whom I have sent for to determine this, come here today. Grand Capt, my lord here stays without a messenger with letters from the doctor, new come from Padua. Duke, bring us the letters, call the messenger. Bars, good cheer, Antonio, what man, courage yet. The Jew shall have my flesh, blood, bones, and all, ere thou shall lose for me 1 drop of blood. Ant, I am a tainted wether of the flock. Meetest for death, the weakest kind of fruit, drops earliest to the ground, and so let me. You cannot better be employed, Bassanio, than to live still and write mine epitaph. Enter Nerissa, dressed like a lawyer's clerk. Duke, came you from Padua from Bellario. Ner, from both, my lord, Bellario greets your grace. Presents a letter. Bars, why dost thou whet thy knife so earnestly? Shy, to cut the forfeit from that bankrupt there. Gra, can no prayers pierce thee? Shy, no, none that thou hast wit enough to make. Gra, oh, be thou damned, inexorable dog. And for thy life, let justice be accursed. Thou almost mak'st me waver in my faith, to hold opinion with Pythagoras, that souls of animals infuse themselves into the trunks of men, thy currish spirit governed a wolf who, hanged for human slaughter, even from the gallows did his fell soul fleet. And whilst thou lay'st in thy unhallowed dam, infust itself in thee, for thy desires are wolfish, bloody, starved, and ravenous. Shy, till thou canst rail the seal from off my bond. Thou but offend'st thy lungs to speak so loud. Repair thy wit, good youth, or it will fall to cureless ruin. I stand here for law. Duke, this letter from Bellario doth commend a young and learned doctor tax our court. Where is he? Ner, he attendeth here hard by, to know your answer, whether you'll admit him. Duke, with all my heart, some 3 or 4 of you. Go give him courteous conduct to this place. Meantime, the court shall hear Bellario's letter. Duke, you hear the learned Bellario, what he writes. And here, I take it, is the doctor come. Enter Portia, dressed like a doctor of laws. Give me your hand, came you from old Bellario? Poor, I did, my lord. Duke, you are welcome, take your place. Are you acquainted with the difference that holds this present question in the court? Poor, I am informed throughly of the cause. Which is the merchant here, and which the Jew? Duke Antonio and old Shylock both stand forth. Poor, is your name Shylock? Shylock is my name. Poor, of a strange nature, is the suit you follow. Yet in such rule that the Venetian law cannot impugn you as you do proceed. You stand within his danger, do you not? To Antonio. And I, so he says. Poor, so you confess the bond. And I do. Poor, then must the Jew be merciful. Shy, on what compulsion must I, tell me that? Poor, the quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth, as the gentle rain from heaven. Upon the place beneath, it is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives, and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mightiest, it becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptred sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. An earthly power doth then show likest gods. When mercy seasons justice, therefore Jew, though justice be thy plea, consider this, that in the course of justice none of us should see salvation, we do pray for mercy. And that same prayer doth teach us all to render the deeds of mercy. I have spoke thus much to mitigate the justice of thy plea, which if thou follow this strict court of Venice, must needs give sentence gainst the merchant there. Shy my deeds upon my head, I crave the law, the penalty and forfeit of my bond. Poor, is he not able to discharge the money? Bars, yes, here I tender it for him in the court. Yea, thrice the sum, if that will not suffice. I will be bound to pay it 10 times o'er. On forfeit of my hands, my head, my heart. If this will not suffice, it must appear that malice bears down truth, and I beseech you, rest once the law to your authority, to do a great right, to do a little wrong, and curb this cruel devil of his will. Poor it must not be, there is no power in Venice can alter a decree established. 'Twill be recorded for a precedent, and many an error by the same example will rush into the state, it cannot be. Shy a Daniel come to judgment, yea, a Daniel. O wise young judge, how do I honor thee? Poor, I pray you, let me look upon the bond. Shy, here 'tis, most reverend doctor, here it is. Poor Shylock, there's thrice thy money offered thee. Shy, an oath, I have an oath in heaven. Shall I lay perjury upon my soul? No, not for Venice. Poor, why this bond is forfeit, and lawfully by this the Jew may claim a pound of flesh to be by him cut off. Nearest the merchant's heart, be merciful. Take thrice thy money, bid me tear the bond. Shy, when it is paid according to the tenor, it doth appear you are a worthy judge. You know the law, your exposition hath been most sound, I charge you by the law, whereof you are a well-deserving pillar. Proceed to judgment, by my soul I swear. There is no power in the tongue of man to alter me, I stay here on my bond. And most heartily I do beseech the court to give the judgment. Poor, why then, thus it is. You must prepare your bosom for his knife. Shy, O noble judge, O excellent young man. Poor, for the intent and purpose of the law hath full relation to the penalty, which here appeareth due upon the bond. Shy, 'tis very true, O wise and upright judge. How much more elder art thou than thy looks. Poor, therefore, lay bare your bosom. Shy, I his breast. So says the bond, doth it not, noble judge, nearest his heart, those are the very words. Poor, it is so, are there balance here to weigh the fleshy. Shy, I have them ready. Poor, have by some surgeon Shylock on your charge, to stop his wounds, lest he should blade to death. Shy, is it so nominated in the bond? Poor, it is not so expressed, but what of that? 'Twere good you do so much for charity. Shy, I cannot find it, 'tis not in the bond. Poor, come merchant, have you anything to say? And but little, I am armed and well prepared. Give me your hand, Bassanio, fare you well. Grieve not that I am fallen to this for you, for herein fortune shows herself more kind than is her custom, it is still her use, to let the wretched man outlive his wealth, to view with hollow eye and wrinkled brow an age of poverty from which lingering penance of such a misery doth she cut me off. Commend me to your honorable wife. Tell her the process of Antonio's end. Say how I loved you, speak me fair in death. And when the tale is told, bid her be judge whether Bassanio had not once a love. Repent not you that you shall lose your friend, and he repents not that he pays your debt. For if the Jew do cut but deep enough, I'll pay it instantly with all my heart. Bars, Antonio, I am married to a wife, which is as dear to me as life itself. But life itself, my wife, and all the world are not with me esteemed above thy life. I would lose all, I sacrifice them all. Here to this devil to deliver you. Gra, I have a wife, whom I protest I love. I would she were in heaven, so she could entreat some power to change this currish Jew. Shy, these be the Christian husbands, I have a daughter. Would any of the stock of Barabbas had been her husband rather than a Christian, aside. We trifle time, I pray thee pursue sentence. Poor, a pound of that same merchant's flesh is thine. The court awards it, and the law doth give it. Shy, most rightful judge. Poor, and you must cut this flesh from off his breast. The law allows it, and the court awards it. Shy, most learned judge, a sentence, come prepare. Poor, tarry a little, there is something else. This bond doth give thee here no jot of blood. The words expressly are a pound of flesh. Then take thy bond, take thou thy pound of flesh. But in the cutting it, if thou dost shed one drop of Christian blood, thy lands and goods are by the laws of Venice confiscate unto the state of Venice. Gra, O upright judge, mark Jew, O learned judge. Shy, is that the law? Poor, thyself shall see the act. For as thou urgest justice, be assured, thou shalt have justice more than thou desirest. Gra, O learned judge, mark Jew, a learned judge. Shy, I take his offer then, pay the bond thrice, and let the Christian go. Bars, here is the money. Poor, soft. The Jew shall have all justice, soft, no haste, he shall have nothing but the penalty. Gra, O Jew, an upright judge, a learned judge. Poor, therefore, prepare thee to cut off the flesh. Shed thou no blood, nor cut thou less nor more, but just a pound of flesh, if thou taxed more, or less than a just pound, be it but so much as makes it light or heavy in the balance, or the division of the 20th part of one poor scruple, nay, if the scale do turn, but in the estimation of a hair, thou deest, and all thy goods are confiscate. Gra, a second Daniel, a Daniel Jew. Now, infidel, I have thee on the hip. Poor, why doth the Jew pause? Take thy forfeiture. Shy, give me my principal, and let me go. Bars, I have it ready for thee, here it is. Poor, he hath refused it in the open court. He shall have merely justice, and his bond. Gra, a Daniel, still say I a second Daniel. Thank thee, Jew, for teaching me that word. Shy, shall I not barely have my principal? Poor, thou shalt have nothing but the forfeiture, to be so taken at thy peril, Jew. Shy, why then the devil give him good of it? I'll stay no longer question. Poor, tarry, Jew. The law hath yet another hold on you. It is enacted in the laws of Venice, if it be proved against an alien, that by direct or indirect attempts he seek the life of any citizen, the party gainst the which he doth contrive shall seize one half his goods, the other half comes to the privy coffer of the state, and the offender's life lies in the mercy of the Duke only, gainst all other voice. In which predicament, I say, thou stand'st, for it appears by manifest proceeding that indirectly and directly too thou hast contrived against the very life of the defendant, and thou hast incurred the danger formerly by me rehearsed. Down, therefore, and beg mercy of the Duke. Gra, beg that thou mayst have leave to hang thyself, and yet, thy wealth being forfeit to the state, thou hast not left the value of a cord. Therefore, thou must be hanged at the state's charge. Duke, that thou shalt see the difference of our spirit. I pardon thee thy life before thou ask it. For half thy wealth it is Antonio's. The other half comes to the general state, which humbleness may drive unto a fine. Poor I for the state. Shy, nay, take my life and all, pardon not that. You take my house when you do take the prop. That doth sustain my house, you take my life. When you do take the means whereby I live. Poor, what mercy can you render him, Antonio? Gra a halter gratis, nothing else, for heaven's sake. And so please my lord the Duke, and all the court, to quit the fine for one half of his goods. I am content, so he will let me have the other half in use, to render it upon his death unto the gentleman that lately stole his daughter. Two things provided more, that for this favor he presently become a Christian. The other, that he do record a gift here in the court of all he dies possessed, unto his son Lorenzo and his daughter. Duke, he shall do this, or else I do recant the pardon that I late pronounced here. Poor, art thou contented, Jew? What dost thou say? Shy, I am content. Poor clerk, draw a deed of gift. Shy, I pray you give me leave to go from hence. I am not well, send the deed after me, and I will sign it. Duke, get thee gone, but do it. Gra, in christening, thou shalt have 2 godfathers. Had I been judge, thou shouldst have had 10 more, to bring thee to the gallows, not to the font. Duke, sir, I entreat you with me home to dinner. Poor, I humbly do desire your grace of pardon. I must away this night toward Padua, and it is meet I presently set forth. Duke, I am sorry that your leisure serves you not. Antonio, gratify this gentleman, for in my mind you are much bound to him. Bars, most worthy gentleman, I and my friend have by your wisdom been this day acquitted of grievous penalties, in lieu whereof 3,000 ducats due unto the Jew. We freely cope your courteous pains withal, and stand indebted over and above, in love and service to you evermore. Poor, he is well paid that is well satisfied, and I, delivering you, am satisfied, and therein do account myself well paid. My mind was never yet more mercenary. I pray you know me when we meet again. I wish you well, and so I take my leave. Bars, dear sir, of force I must attempt you further. Take some remembrance of us as a tribute, not as a fee. Grant me 2 things, I pray you: not to deny me, and to pardon me. Poor, you press me far, and therefore I will yield. Give me your gloves, I'll wear them for your sake. And for your love, I'll take this ring from you. Do not draw back your hand, I'll take no more. And you in love shall not deny me this. Bars, this ring, good sir, alas, it is a trifle. I will not shame myself to give you this. Poor, I will have nothing else, but only this. And now, methinks, I have a mind to it. Bars, there's more depends on this than on the value. The dearest ring in Venice will I give you, and find it out by proclamation. Only for this, I pray you pardon me. Poor, I see, sir, you are liberal in offers. You taught me first to beg, and now, methinks, you teach me how a beggar should be answered. Bars, good sir, this ring was given me by my wife, and when she put it on, she made me vow that I should neither sell, nor give, nor lose it. Poor, that skews serves many men to save their gifts. And if your wife be not a mad woman, and know how well I have deserved this ring, she would not hold out enemy for ever. For giving it to me, well, peace be with you. Aunt, my Lord Bassanio, let him have the ring. Let his deservings, and my love withal, be valued gainst your wife's commandment. Bars, go, Gratiano, run and overtake him. Give him the ring, and bring him, if thou canst, unto Antonio's house, away make haste. Come, you and I will thither presently, and in the morning early will we both fly toward Belmont. Come, Antonio.